Hello, everybody. Welcome to Most Wanted Topics. I'm your host, Kevin Dennison, along with me, Atomic Tommy. We are at our store in beautiful Bloomington, Minnesota, called Most Wanted Comics. If you've never heard of it, go to mostwantedcomics.com, check us out. And also, if you like these podcasts that we're doing on YouTube here, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe. Atomic Tommy, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Are you footballed out from the weekend?
Footballed out. You know what, man?
The Mighty Mafu had a hard weekend.
Yeah, Matthew was not happy. He had a rough go of it. I knew the Chiefs were going to win. There was no world that the Ravens beat them.
Well, not with Taylor Swift. I'm pretty sure the officials made sure, and I'm not saying it was a poorly officiated game or anything, but I'm pretty sure that the NFL is very happy that Taylor Swift's going to help with the ratings.
Yeah, they probably don't. They probably appreciate Taylor's presence at the games.
Yep.
But beyond that, I knew the Chiefs were going to win. I was hoping the Lions would win, but they choked under the pressure.
The Lions had a good thing going. Their second half, the third quarter, I just felt so bad because you could just see the wheels come off the wagon. The first quarter, they were pumped up. They had the energy. They were fired up. They were going strong. And the third quarter happens, and just come some bad plays.
I think you can really see sort of the, they're not in this position very often. In fact, I don't think they've ever been in this position before. And you can really sort of, I think, you can really see that.
I felt so bad because Dan Campbell, he kept with the, I'm going to go for the fourth down no matter what. And then, of course, the receivers couldn't handle big-time throws and make big-time catches when it mattered. I mean, in their hands and out. And the poor guy could have had interception, bounced off his face mask, couldn't catch the ball. It's just everything that could go wrong for Detroit in the third quarter to turn the momentum of the game over went wrong. And Matthew did everything he could to hold it together. And so when he comes up for his segment to do his collector's corner today, we're not going to mention anything about the Lions. Okay, don't make any comments about the Lions. Don't upset the Mighty Mafu.
Don't do that. No comments. We don't. They had a good run. Maybe next year.
Okay, that's good. We wrapped up football playoffs. We're ready for this. Who's your pick for the big game?
The Chiefs. I don't want to see the 49ers win. I don't like the Niners.
Yeah, I'm not a California fan to begin with, so I'm fine with Kansas City. I want a Midwest team. We're in a Midwest state, so of course we want a Midwest team to win. We're cheering for Kansas City in the big game.
The big game.
You can't say the word. You got to say the big game. So that's what we're going for. Anyway, it's comic talk time now. You know what? We have a big announcement we promised last week. We have a few big announcements, but we're going to kick off another local fan favorite and also good friend of Most Wanted Comics. Brent Schoonover, everybody, is coming back. Yep. Little coveted claps. Brent Schoonover, February 17th from 10 to 2. He'll be in the store signing autographs, doing some sketches, some sketch cards, and some sketch covers. Limited amount, though, so make sure you get here early to check in with him if you want one done. I just can't say enough thanks to Brent Schoonover for taking time out of his schedule to book some time with us. Also, March 16th, we have the new paint production team. Keith Champagne and the boys will be joining us here at Most Wanted Comics. Huh? How about that?
Claps.
That's definitely worth an applause. So, coveted claps for Keith Champagne and the new paint production team. That we're hoping to have all of them here so we can talk about what's coming up with them, and also they can sign some books and have
talk about their process. I think it'll be really cool to really sit down with the whole team and really just get a look at what it's like, as an indie studio.
I agree, and you're going to lead that conversation.
Yes, I will.
You're gonna have a lot of fun doing that, and talk about some stuff that you're doing in writing, and just have fun with the whole thing. Anyway, then finally, we're going to add more to these Saturday signings, people, but then another one, April 13th, Tom Cook, the legendary animator, illustrator, and director. I mean, he drew our childhood. I mean, what can you say? I mean, Smurfs, Scooby-Doo, He-Man, Master of the Universe, She-Ra, King of the Hill, what else is there? I mean, you name it. I mean, Super Friends. I mean,
great shows, legendary shows.
If you watch cartoons back in the day, more than likely it had something to do with it. So make sure you plan that on your calendar. So that's what's coming up in the future. We're going to add more So make sure you follow us on Facebook and follow us on our website. Anything to add to that?
No.
Nope, we're good to go. Okay, so what do we have to talk about comic-wise this week?
Not a whole lot this week. I mean, there just wasn't really a whole lot this week. It was kind of mediocre, I guess. I mean, not that the books were mediocre, but it's just more. There wasn't really a whole lot out that I personally read or find interesting. That's not to say that the things that did come out were bad or weren't interesting or whatever. Obviously, everybody has their own favorite titles. But for me personally, it was just it was a laid back week, which I think is needed because we've had a few really strong, pumped up, like huge weeks in comics. There's a lot of new stuff coming out, a lot going on. So to have a laid back week, I think is, much needed in a lot of ways. But there were two books that I figured I'd mention. One of them was Thrawn. Again, I just don't have a lot to say about it. It was fun. It was cool. It's nice to see Timothy Zahn still writing the character. For those who maybe don't know, Timothy Zahn wrote the original Thrawn novels, which are widely popular in the Star Wars community, widely praised. They are big books, probably some of the most famous novels in Star Wars, and it's just nice to see him still involved with the character, still writing the character all these years after, especially as Thrawn makes his way into the more mainstream shows and upcoming movies. So that was cool, and in the book, it was a cool book. It was fun to see sort of the connections and I guess you could kind of call them flashbacks to, Thrawn and Anakin and in the Clone Wars and their sort of meetups and their connections, and then, have it immediately cut back and tie into Thrawn and Vader in the Empire. Those kind of connections were cool. The relationship between Vader and Thrawn is always really cool. They have very different sort of ideals and standpoints on how they personally, lead the Empire in success, and seeing those connections and seeing those almost tension between those two characters is really cool. So it was a cool book, but again, I just don't have a lot to say about it one way or the other. The other thing I'd like to mention was Ghost Machine. That came out this week, and I think some people are kind of sleeping on that book a little bit. I don't think people are really giving
we ordered
it
some
the
extra
attention
copies of that. I think it deserves a little more attention.
It deserves. It has a great lineup of creators behind it, people that you'll probably know from Marvel and DC, sort of coming together to create a new world with new stories and new characters, and it's really cool. The stories are entertaining, the characters are cool, and it's honestly just nice to see creators, who are, staples in the industry, coming together to create something that you can tell while reading it they're genuinely passionate about and genuinely, enjoy doing. It's just nice to see, published at Image Comics. I think it's a great nod to the start of Image Comics and, a bunch of Marvel creators, Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson, these guys sort of, breaking off from Marvel and starting their own thing, going back to what they considered to be the root of comics. Not to say that these creators from Ghost Machine are doing that, but it's a nice, connection to make, I think, in the modern day.
We gotta get Eric Larson back here.
We do have to get Eric Larson back here. But yeah, that's really all I got for last week. Some decent books, but nothing, I guess, too noteworthy.
Anything to look forward to coming up?
Not really.
What?
This week, it's another laid back week for me. I guess the only books I'm really looking forward to are Batman Off-World #3 and Duke #2. But other than that, I don't think there's really much coming out for me this week.
All right, well, you'll have to read some books and find out if anything was a sleeper that you missed.
There usually always is. I don't read every title every week. There's just some that I just don't want to get into, or
our stack is big. There's just so much. There's only so much time too.
There's only so much time, So I do miss stuff. People recommend titles all the time, and I appreciate it always.
Yeah,
you'll keep recommending me stuff.
Recommend some,
because that's always nice to know what I might be missing. So yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and send in a comment if there's something that we're missing and that we should be talking about. Let us know.
I know a lot of people tell me to read Nightwing. I don't read Nightwing.
Nightwing's awesome.
Nightwing is cool. He's one of my favorite characters, but I just have not read the run. Maybe one of these days, though, we'll get it. Another one people tell me to read a lot is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I hear is really good, but again, I don't read that.
That's all right. You guys pick it up at the next, jumping on point, or if they do something to jump on again, pick it up. Okay, we were talking about booking more guests and everything, and so we've been trying to get Dan Jurgens, here in the studio, to sign autographs for people and have a signing. It's an honor to have him. We love Dan Jurgens, so we like to play around him because we just haven't been able to get our schedules coordinated. So we've been having some fun with him with our "Where's Dan Jurgens" segment. We're looking for Dan, on the lookout for Dan Jurgens. So has there been any response in the email?
No, we've had nothing back from Dan Jurgens, and
well, now we're gonna have to call in a pro.
We're gonna have to call in a professional.
We're gonna have to find him to ask him to
try
sign in
and
our
get
store.
Dan Jurgens to our store.
All right, if we have to find him in person to ask him, if he can't respond to our email, we'll have to find him in person to ask him to sign in our store. So let's go on the lookout for. We hired a pro. We're gonna go on the lookout for Dan Jurgens. Check this out.
All right, here we are, out in the wilderness, on the hunt for a rare creature, Dan Jurgens. Now, if there's one thing I know about Dan Jurgens, is that he leaves evidence behind everywhere he goes. So it's important to keep an eye out for any signs of life. Here we go. It's also important to remember to be quiet and stealthy. You don't want to startle him, but I think today could be a mission. Oh, here we got some. Quick, here we go. Put me one. Oh, well, it was a close call, but it turns out just booster gold. Part of that evidence I was telling you about earlier. Now, I'm just going to leave that guy there, because that obviously is not Dan Jurgens, but clearly he has marked his territory. So we're going to keep going. All right, well, we struck out on the first go, but I think we might have some luck yet. Oftentimes, you never know what can happen. Oh, I think we got something else. Quick, live. Crikey, mate, I think we got something else. Live one. Oh, nope. Another false alarm. Just the death of Superman. Another false alarm. Crikey, mate, if I had a nickel, that would... Fun fact about the death of Superman. Used to be a highly desirable creature. Everyone wanted one. Fortunately, did not age so well, and now, well, not going to bother rehabilitating him. Just going to leave him here in the wilderness. Think we struck out on Dan Jurgens, but catch you in the next one. Out.
Well, we were unable to find Dan Jurgens, but we did find some evidence.
Yeah, we found some evidence. Maybe next time. I mean, it's all in good fun. We're having fun, Dan. We're not.
We're just having fun.
We're not trying to.
We just want you to sign our. We just want you to sign our store. We're just we're just gonna keep on the lookout until we find it and have you come sign in the shop. But what the hell were we thinking? Looking in a park. But apparently he hangs out there.
Apparently, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You just gotta. See, apparently, if the comics were there, maybe, who knows?
The comic book searcher knew, obviously, a little bit enough to know, we did find some evidence, but no, all in good fun. We want Dan to be at the store signing sometime, so we'll keep on the lookout for him and let you know how it plays out, and you guys can follow along. Hey, shout out to Matt and JD, Scott and the boys. We're going to start a new segment here in the Mighty Mafu. Again, don't talk about the Lions game. We're going to have a new segment called Collector's Corner, and the Mafu is going to kick off the Collector's Corner, and we invite people who want to share their collections with us to share what they have and some knowledge about it, because people always like to see what other people have and what they're collecting and what it's about. So the Mighty Mafu is going to kick off this first edition of Collector's Corner. Mm-hmm. So let's take it away with the Mighty Mafu.
I have here some of my favorite G1 Transformers of all time from my own collection. I have with me G1 Jetfire. Came out in 1984-85, and he's a cross between Macross Robotech and G1 Jetfire. He came out in Japan under Bandai, not Dakar, which made Optimus Prime. He comes with his armor, which is removable, all of it, his cannon, and some extra firepower, such as twin head-mounted laser cannons, and some wrist gauntlets here. And he is cool. And here's the box. The box is cool because I like G1 Transformers artwork, like the front. And then on the back, you see an 84 box art, which I think is kind of weird. You know, this came out in 1985, but, you know, the earlier figures had the Robotech symbol, so it makes sense. But cool figure, cool box, so it's right up there with Omega Supreme with cool boxes. And then some other figures include Optimus Prime, some accessories, and the box. The box is awesome. As you can see, great artwork. 84 packaging art with the robot points, which are always missing. Great for sending away for the Omnibots and some other mail-away figures. So here's the figure of Optimus Prime. Dakara made 1984, except in Japan he wasn't called Optimus Prime, he was called Battle Convoy, and his later form of Power Master Optimus Prime was called God Jinrai. A little history on that. He was released in 1984-85. This toy was discontinued for 1986. Of course, he died in the movie. Spoilers. So accessories include... Now, he did have some variations on accessories, such as the missiles. They were either gray or black. I have the black versions, which, as you can see, they're just solid plastic missiles that can be spring-loaded into the trailer, which I'll show you in a minute. And the gas pump that will apply onto roller. So it's a rubber gas pump, which rubber tends to dry rot. And here's the fuel pump. It's a nice solid piece of plastic. And then we have this. This is a toy catalog or booklet that it's basically a promotion to mail away for some figures. So, like the Omnibots and all those, and a watch. Surprised that they even made Transformers watch. And then this. This is really important because this is the very first Transformers playset. If you include all the Titans. This is STARS, which stands for Secret Transformers Autobot Rescue Squad. So you can send away for some Autobots. Like, you can get all 3 Omnibots right here. 2 of them, at least. And then this was continued on, so like you can get Reflector and all those ones in 86. But it was great, you know, and that's something that not a lot of toy companies are making anymore, which is sad, really. And then the bio reader, so you can read Optimus Prime's tech spec. And then we can get to the trailer. So this still has the classic styrofoam. And here is the trailer. Look at that. It's a nice... Now, this did not come in the original G1 line in different variations. But how you open it so it doesn't fall over and break. So you extend these 2, what do we call them, trailer holds. And you can open this up. You can hold Autobots. As far as I'm going to open that. Roller. Here's Roller. He came in 2 variations too. He came in purple and blue. I have here the purple variation. So what you can do is that you can apply that gas pump right here. And, you know, there's Roller. And here is the battle platform where the missiles go. So it has the radar dish, the claw, and here's where the missiles will go. Awesome toy. Now, the original Dakar ones had mini pilots, but it's great that Hasbro omitted them because otherwise they'll be really easily lost. But overall, both of these Transformers are really cool G1 toys. I mean, it's Optimus and Jetfire, and they're just cool additions to your collection. They pop on the shelf, especially Jetfire. So, to sum up, I'm going to say these two G1 Transformers are some of the best Transformers I have in my entire collection. This is the Mighty Mafu. I'll see you next time.
All right, well, great segment with Collector's Corner. I think that'll be a
Great way to kick it off.
Great way to kick it off. If you have any interest in doing a Collector's Corner, please email us or send us a message, and we can't make any promises, but we'll try. If we can get to you, we'll share your collection. Let's move on now. We're going to talk about something that hasn't been talked about very much, I don't feel like. But let's talk about a little Madam Web. It's coming out soon.
If you haven't heard of Madam Web, don't be surprised. Not many people have. It's one of those movies that really flew under the radar. I don't think many people know of Madam Web. So if you're one of those people that maybe you're like, what? They're making a Madam Web movie. I guess they are. Why? I couldn't tell you. But don't feel like you're missing out if you didn't know about this film. Because I don't think many people did.
Yeah, I think it came out of nowhere. Has there been a lot of hype for it, or are they afraid to hype it up because of all the disasters they've been coming out with lately? Or
I don't think there's any hype to be had. I mean, Madam Web isn't Madam Web's a cool character in the comics. Don't get me wrong, but she just never strikes me as a character that can carry her own solo film. I'm sure that there are stories they can take to, make a feature film out of featuring Madam Web, but I don't know if there's really a need for a solo Madam Web movie. I don't know if it'll be. Who knows? It could be a great movie. I think it comes out.
Haven't heard anything about it.
I think it comes out mid-February. I want to say around Valentine's Day is when it comes out. I'm not certain though on the exact date of when the movie launches, but I don't see it being that good of a film.
It hasn't sent her first appearance to the moon or anything, has it? Like
No, what's it? It's 210. Amazing Spider-Man 210 is the first appearance of Madam Web. And that book did go up a little bit, but see, the thing about this movie and the thing about comic book speculation now is that Madam Web and a lot of other related movies like this have been in development for a long time. The actual film and the trailer, it came out of nowhere, mostly because a lot of people forgot that these movies were even happening. Sony likes to announce and leak rumors of their upcoming movies all the time. And so people will hear about them and will know about them, but they'll forget about them because nothing happens for them for years. And that's sort of the case with Madam Web. So that book, I think, has been on the rise for a little while now, but it never really went crazy.
No, and it seems like the speculation of Kingpin and his evil buddies, gang war and just the fact that Spider-Man 4 is coming out.
There's been a lot of.
I think there's been more speculation on who are the bad guys that are going to be appearing in that. I think.
Well, I think that's because there's more interest in the Spider-Man 4 movie than a Madam Web movie. I mean, look, Sony Spider-Man movies have been a bit of a train wreck. Venom's been okay. I'm not going to say Venom was terrible. I haven't, I'm admitting this here. I haven't actually seen Venom Let There Be Carnage yet. I just never got around to watching that movie. I hope to sometime, though, with the third one coming out. But Morbius, for all the memes that came out of that movie, it was a terrible film.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
That movie was awful. That movie was so bad. I don't even know why it was there.
That was on the level of, dare I say, a DC movie.
Well, that's an insult to DC movies. Some of don't compare Morbius to DC movies. But at the end of the day, I just don't know what they're doing, man. I don't know why Sony's making these Spider-Man movies, and I can guarantee you this. If you haven't seen Morbius, I envy you, but I will spoiler I envy you. I will spoil the post-credit scene. It connects to Spider-Man No Way Home, with what's his name? Michael Keaton's Vulture showing up in the Morbius universe, which I think was heavily hinted at to be also the Venom universe. Venom and Morbius are in sort of the same universe. I think. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm just assuming that it is. And it's sort of, Adrian Toomes was in his little Vulture suit and he's flying around everywhere at the post-credit scene. And that was sort of their big, that's why they wanted you to go see that movie. They banked everything on that post-credit scene. And I'm going to guarantee you that Madam Web is going to have some crazy post-credit scene with some crazy cameo. Andrew Garfield's probably going to show up. Tobey Maguire's probably going to show up. Some legacy Spider-Man actor's probably going to show up in the post-credit scene, because otherwise, who's going to go see Madam Web? And why would you go see Madam Web?
I tell you what, though, I think Garfield's a good Spider-Man.
He is a good Spider-Man, but it's just the fact that, in this rumor and this information came out a little while ago, too. There was this whole big leak or break on that Andrew Garfield was supposed to be Spider-Man in the I think it was the Madam Web universe or in the movie, but it got scrapped and they wanted Tom Holland, and then that didn't happen either. So I just don't. They can't get their shit together, and honestly,
it feels like the whole market's on it. There's not even good speculation going on.
There's not good speculation, and well, the comic book speculation in with movies and stuff is so out in its own world. I don't even like to talk about it.
Yeah.
But honestly, it feels like what Sony's doing is they're trying to build a Spider-Man universe without a Spider-Man, which is weird. Like they're starting with the villains, but the villains don't really matter if there's no Spider-Man.
Right. It was Spider-Man.
Like, we got Venom, who's not really a villain, but we got Carnage too. We got Morbius. We'll have this Ezekiel Sims guy, which I know the Man of Web movie is going to take place, I think, before Peter Parker. Which I think is another misplay, but we don't have to go there. Also, they got Kraven coming up and Rhino. Those two characters are going to be in the Kraven solo movie coming out later this year. You probably forgot about that one. I didn't.
There you go.
I did not forget about that, although I wish I had, because I think that's another misplay. But they're trying to build this Sinister Six lineup without a Spider-Man to go with it. Which is just a misplay, I think, all around. And it'll probably be Tobey Maguire. Well, it'll probably be Andrew Garfield. They'll probably get Andrew Garfield to re-sign, and they'll make a Spider-Man 3, and they'll do all this. But really, what are they accomplishing?
Yep. I know. I agree. I think that market's really reaching right now, and I think they're reaching right now, and I think just the speculation in general is kind of dried up right now. They're begging for stuff to speculate on.
They are. I mean,
and they're reaching for all these variants. It's stupid.
Well, the thing about the spec market is, at this point, who cares, right? Because you get this sort of before. If you look back at the early days of the MCU, people genuinely cared about the books that were being speculated on. They genuinely wanted them. They thought they were going to mean something. And it was more than just the flippers buying them. It was the collectors. It was the average Joes trying to get their hands on these books, and it kept feeding the market, right? People kept buying it at the prices that were being inflated. But now you get this thing where people just don't care anymore. I mean, they know that eventually the prices are going to go down. They know that, the first appearance of Dazzler, which has gone up crazy because of the Taylor Swift
rumor, yeah.
The only people really buying those books are people trying to flip it. Average collectors know that they're not going to have to buy it at that price forever. Eventually, that book's going to go down. It's not going to be hot anymore, and they're going to be able to buy it at the same price they were a year ago.
Yeah.
So that market,
or a new stabilized price, where it's not just
or a new stabilized price. So that market doesn't really work anymore. And to be honest, every time somebody comes in, they're like, I'm trying to figure out this MCU, man. I want to get in on this market. I want to try and hit this new big book. I'm like, don't. Like, you're not going to. You're going to. It's a week here, a week there. It's a stupid market that sets you up to fail. Don't get into it.
And it
bad.
made people mad. I mean, look at Ultimate Spider-Man #1.
Look at Ultimate. Yeah, that's a perfect example. But that's different because that's the first time I've seen a new comic skyrocket in price because somebody genuinely wants to read it.
Well, that's true. It wasn't related to a movie or anything.
There's no movie
It was
speculation.
actually hyped up because people did want to read it. Yes, you're right. You're right
There's
about
no
that.
speculation from a movie standpoint behind Ultimate Spider-Man #1. That's just a crazy book for no reason, which is another thing that I think is really interesting.
It wasn't underprinted.
It wasn't underprinted. There were a ton of people. I think just in general, people underordered it. I think a lot of businesses underordered that book, which caused, obviously they're coming out with the second print in a few weeks, and I don't know if that will stabilize the book any with the second print. It could. The second print could absolutely collapse Ultimate Spider-Man cover A first print because, if it's only because people want to read it, they're going to be able to the second print, and all of a sudden, the only thing that book has left is going to be the first printing sort of bump that will give that book some credit. So I think that book will remain at a solid $20.
Okay,
that's my prediction.
Usually, don't come down from the 60.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's not going to be 60 forever, because there's no movie to sort of sustain the price. It's just is what it is. But
yeah, well, that's great take. Atomic Tommy again dropping bombs of knowledge. We love it.
Oh yeah,
good job, everybody. Hey, that's it for this week. Stay tuned for some more big announcements next week, hopefully. And hopefully we'll find Dan Jurgens.
Hopefully we'll find Dan Jurgens.
We'll get an answer for that. Otherwise, we'll just keep on looking. And everybody have a great week. And we'll see you next week, everybody.